Hello, folks, and welcome to Subjective Thoughts. And our comic for today is Radio Spaceman Mission to Numa 4, Issue 1 by Dark Horse. Now, there is fighting, shooting, killing, and aliens in this one, so if you are in any way squeamish, you have been warned. Also, spoilers. Alright, here's the team. So, this one came out in 2020. I picked it up because I saw, Mike Mignola worked on it. I was like, I gotta have this one. And there's also just a two-part mini-series. So I picked it up, and as always with me, didn't read it. Also, with me back then, didn't read it immediately. And forgot where I put it. Now I've found it again this week. So, alright, time to read this one. I was also very curious based on the title. Alright, so we start with some kind of room. It's full of all these detailed sketches of the human brain, the human body. We got, what do you call them? Models, detailed model of a body, all of that. The room looks very dusty. And the dusty curtains is a bit of maybe not exactly a fire burning in the fireplace. And then the phone rings out. Now, based on the room, everything looks a little old, like Victorian era, but it's not. So the phone rings, and then behind those curtains, it looks a man is sitting there. He gets up, grabs an equally dusty robe as the curtains are, and answers the phone. Goes to sit down in front of the fireplace and answers the phone. It's a general calling him, telling him there's some kind of problem. The Countess, it's on Numa 4. That's the planet. Yeah, it's a planet. And the man's like, yeah, that's not good. Yes, sir. And he hangs up. And then he gets up and leaves the room, and this room is inside of sort of a spaceship. He goes to I imagine the main room, the main control room. He sits down at I'm gonna assume he's the captain. In his chair, there are 4 men with light bulbs above their heads sitting there. I think they're some kind of robots, probably. He says power on. They get turned on, and he starts to give commands. He said radio's open. And the robots light up and start ticking on their the computer things. And then he sits. They sent out a little ship from the big ship. He sits down, and now he finally sits down on the chair. No, before that he was standing. He sits on the chair. He takes something and he plugs it into his chest. And that thing he plugs is inside of the little spaceship they send is this, I'm not sure. Is it some kind of robot? I'm not sure what he is supposed to be. But he plugs in, and the robot, I'm going to call it a robot for now, the skeleton robot gets turned on. And now the man can now operate him. And I guess see through him and everything, so maybe it's not some kind of robot exactly. And that's it. He starts piloting, the robot starts piloting the ship. I'm just going to call it like the title, Radio Spaceman. Starts flying the ship towards Numa 4. As he passes by, 3 alien ships detect him and start following him. He lands on the planet. There's a wrecked ship there. He approaches it. And that's where he was going to. Outside, there's one crew member. His head's been caved in with a giant wrench. Wrench. He goes into the ship. I assume, pilot tells him that the professor has gone crazy and the pilot tried to land the ship as well as he could, and that he took Doctor. Well, what's her name? That doctor lady. He took her and then left. And he says, "I thought he was there for the box, but he just took the doctor." And then before he can tell him any more, he gets shot by those three aliens. The three ships that followed him, they had animal-like aliens in them. One's a bear, one might be a bull, I think, and the other one was a rat. The third one was a rat. So they start shooting. A radio spaceman pulls out his gun and starts shooting back at them. He's got kind of this old looking gun, but it's shooting lasers. He kills two of them, the possibly bull alien and the rat, but then the battery runs out and he doesn't have a replacement. Back in the spaceship, the captain, the man asks a guy behind him that's fixing the stuff, "You didn't give him his other charger?" Which, and him saying that makes me think that Radio Spaceman might be sentient, perhaps. Because he says him, and he said you didn't put a charger in it, is to imply it's just a suit or a robot. I'm not sure. But he says, no, the other one is still charging. And, and the man says, "You're utterly useless." And it says, "Yeah, you still have a job here." And the guy that does the work says it's a mystery. That was a funny little moment. So back to Radio Spaceman, he pulls a hammer from his tool belt and hits the bear on the head. The bear loses his consciousness, and that doesn't die. And then we see a bunch of pterodactyl-looking things flying, and then there's another. It's an alien, but looks like a giant dinosaur, and he's eating some of the pterodactyl-looking aliens. Then Radio Spaceman pulls out a device from his tool belt. It's beeping, and he starts walking. I guess it's looking for signals of the people gone, or the doctor and the professor. He goes and he goes inside of a big cave, and the doctor she's tied to altar, to a stone altar, while the professor is mumbling some kind of things for this, I think, frog god, because there's a lot of frog-like alien people. Mike Manola really loves his frogs. He and my grandma have that in common. But yes, he approaches, he sees, and the doctor asks him, "What had made you lose your mind like that, Professor?" And he says, "You don't understand what great honor you've been given. You're going to be the bride of this, I think, frog god alien." And then Radio Spaceman says, "Stop." Oh yeah, I forgot to say, he does talk. I'm not sure if it's him or it's the voice of the man in the spaceship. Uncertain. Uh, the professor sees him, and so does the doctor, and she yells, "Radio Spaceman." So I'm guessing that's his name, and he's known. And he says, the professor says, "Kill him," to the frog people. Radio Spaceman gets his hand towards his hammer, and the frogmen look at him, and then they jump toward him. But before we can see a fight, we go back to the spaceship and the three aliens. Meanwhile, the inside of the spaceship that crashed, the box in there that's all chained up starts to rattle, and then the chains are broken, and out of it comes a vampire lady, of all things. I'm guessing that's the Countess that was discussed previously. And based on how she was traveling, I'm assuming it was not voluntary. So they were taking her somewhere to be locked up, maybe? I'm not sure. Anyway, she gets out. The bear alien that was hit with the hammer gets up. He sees her and he says, "Hey, lady, what are you doing? Here?" But before he does, not before he doesn't get an answer, and she goes all vampire, mouth big, not fangs. Oh yeah, fangs, and jumps on him and drinks all the blood in his body. And he's like, ah. And then she gets up, and after all that blood, she looks young again. Before that, she looked like a dried up corpse, and now she looks all nice and pretty. And then she turns into a bat, a big white bat, and flies away. I'm assuming towards where Radio Spaceman is, I think. And that's it, to be concluded in issue 2. Okay, so first, the cover. It's a Mike Manola. You know I love my Mike Manola art. Yeah, I love it. It's obviously very reminiscent of the Hellboy covers. You got the Radio Spaceman walkie. You got the planets. I love the colors here. Oh, Dave Stewart does the coloring inside here, so that made me very happy. Oh, there it is. I like this green and a swampy green. So yeah, there he goes. The tentacle, the planets. Okay, now for the inside art. The art was done by Greg Hinckley. I probably butchered that. My apologies. So there we go. There's his room. Yeah, that. Oh, and I look on it. It's a bed. Oh, I just thought it was like the wall there, and it was some kind of like a place in the wall, but it's a bed. See how dusty things are? Sheesh. There's the phone. Kind of old looking, but definitely in a spaceship. Okay, and then there we go. He hears the ringing, gets up. He was probably sleeping. Now that I realize it's a bed. There you go. Gets up, grabs his robe, grabs the phone. Oops, sorry. And you see, I got all these models here. There you go. He's talking to him about the Countess. Ah, there we go. Countess Rostokovich. Okay, there we go. And there he's walking out. Say at first it just looks kind of like a room, but then you notice all the tubes and everything. And there we go. Nice art style. Kind of reminds me of the one from the recent BPRD omnibus I read. But, yeah, it kind of was it. Although I like this one a little more than that one. But that one I didn't like too much. Yeah, the art is fine. There we go. That's the art style. And that's at least you get to see Radio Spaceman here. Alright, on to the story. So this has been very interesting from the first page. Because he got this room, right? And he got the old guy, and then he gets out. And then gets out, and suddenly, holy shit, we're on a spaceship. So let's say he's some sort of maybe captain, and he's been here a long time. I love how it tells you how this stuff works without any explanations even, just showing you. Say he operates, he's got a thing in his body, he operates Radio Spaceman. If he is sentient or not, that's unclear. And just the whole, the way this all works is so cool. It's just so interesting, like, what's going on? Oh, also, at one point, one of them, was it the bear says, son of a... Mike Mignola really loves to do that. He writes the characters to say son of a, but never says the bitch part. I've noticed he does that a lot. At least in the stuff in the comics I've read. Man, it's just all really fascinating. Who is Radio Spaceman? What is this captain doing? Who is this Countess Vampire Lady? Where would they shipping her? Are these, those who follow them, are they aliens? What's going on here? I mean, Radio Spaceman just alone himself is very fascinating. Because you see it's this suit, and it's got the skull glowing inside of it. Oh, kind of made me think of that Death Stranding game. by Kojima that came out a couple of years ago. Remind me of that. But yeah, this has been so fucking interesting. I loved it. Great first issue. Just enough to let you understand how some of this stuff works, but not revealing too much, and makes you intrigued what's gonna continue. But it's a shame it's only a little story because it's just a two-parter. So, and I wonder if there's any more Radio Spaceman. I would love to know about him more. Is he a suit? Is he just a suit that the captain plugs himself in not to go outside? Because he's, as you've seen, he's quite old, so he wouldn't manage on his own. But then, why is the suit designed like that? Or is it some kind of robot that he just connects himself to and just goes with him? But when he sends the spaceship, the Radio Spaceman is not even moving. And if Radio Spaceman gets hurt, what does that mean for the captain? Does he die along with him, or just he gets disconnected and that's it? It's so fascinating. I would love to know. But yeah, regardless, a very cool little oh, sci-fi story. I guess usually in sci-fi you wouldn't really have vampires. I mean, at least the Countess seems to be a vampire. I mean, the blood drinking, the teeth turning into a bat, very classic. Oh well, I guess I'll find out in the issue two and the last one was hopefully what's going on. Yeah, just read this first issue. I wish there was a bit more, but we'll see how the story concludes. But anyway, great first issue. Very interesting story so far in the first issue. All right, folks. So that is it. Let me know if you read Radio Spaceman Mission to Numa 4, and if you did, what did you think about it? And that is it. Remember, collect what you're passionate about and share it on YouTube. Bye.